When you think about organ systems, your mind might go straight to the heart, the brain, or maybe even the lungs. But there's one organ system that's constantly working to protect you, sense the world around you, and even regulate your temperature, all without you even thinking about it. It's the one you see every day in the mirror. It's your skin, and it's more complex than it gets credit for. In this video, we're going beneath the surface, literally, to discover exactly what the skin is made of, how it's organized, and why every layer matters. Hi, I'm Dr. Vanessa, and this is Learning Biology with Dr. Vanessa. My mission is to make science not just accessible and understandable, but meaningful so you can truly learn how your body works and make more informed decisions for your future. If you've been finding these clear, approachable lessons helpful, I'd love your support. Be sure to subscribe to join a community that values clear, accurate, and empowering biology education. Your support helps keep this content coming, and I truly appreciate it. Today, we are going to take a look at how the skin is structured, its multiple layers, each with specific cells and roles, the supportive connective tissue below, and the accessory structures like hair, gland, and nails. So join me as we take a closer look at the remarkable structure of the skin, your body's largest and heaviest organ, making up 15% of body weight. The skin, also known as the cutaneous membrane, is composed of two main structural layers, the epidermis and the dermis. The epidermis is the outermost layer that is composed of epithelial tissue, and the dermis lies beneath it and is made of thicker connective tissue. The epidermis is avascular, meaning it does not have blood vessels, while the dermis is vascular. This is why if you cut yourself superficially and only into the epidermis, there is no bleeding. But if you cut past it through and get into the dermis, then there is bleeding. Underneath the dermis is the hypodermis. This layer is not considered part of the skin, but is referred to as subcutaneous tissue, meaning underneath the skin. This tissue consists of both areolar connective tissue and adipose tissues attaching the skin to the underlying fascia. This area also stores fat and has large blood vessels that supply the skin. Let's take a closer look at each one of these layers. The epidermis is the outermost layer of the skin. It's composed primarily of keratinized, stratified squamous epithelium. As I mentioned before, it is avascular, so it relies on diffusion from the dermis for nutrients. The four main cell types that we'll see in the epidermis are keratinocytes. This is the main cell type that we find in the epidermis. These cells produce keratin, a structural protein that strengthens the skin and contributes to its water-resistant properties. In the epidermis, we also see melanocytes. These are found deeper in the epidermis in the layer called the stratum basale. These cells produce melanin, the pigment that gives skin its color and absorbs damaging ultraviolet light. Melanocytes have branch projections that allow the melanin to transfer to keratinocytes, where the melanin will then surround the nucleus to protect the DNA within it. There are also Langerhans cells, which are also called dendritic cells. These are macrophages, which are cells that are capable of phagocytosis, and these macrophages arise from red bone marrow and migrate to the epidermis. These phagocytic cells can participate in the immune response against pathogens that are able to invade the skin. Langerhans cells are found in the stratum spinosum and the stratum granulosum of the epidermis. And then we have Merkel cells, or tactile cells. These are the least numerous of the cells that are found in the epidermis. They are found in the deepest layer of the epidermis, the stratum basale, and are associated with sensory neurons called non-encapsulated sensory corpuscles, or Merkel discs. and they are involved in detecting touch. The epidermis is made of several different layers. These layers have keratinocytes that are in various stages of development. Let's talk about each layer, starting from the deepest layer. The stratum basale is the deepest layer of the epidermis. In this area, we find a single layer of cuboidal or low columnar mitotically active keratinocytes. Some cells in this layer are epidermal stem cells that continuously undergo mitosis to produce new keratinocytes. Melanocytes and Merkel cells are also found scattered in this layer. The next layer, above that, is the stratum spinosum. This consists of several layers of keratinocytes connected by desmosomes. This is the thickest stratum in most skin. As these cells move upwards, they produce more and more keratin filaments, which cause these cells to flatten in appearance. The higher up in this layer they are, the flatter the cells appear. Dendritic or Langerhans cells and projections of melanocytes are also found within this layer. The stratum granulosum consists of 3 to 5 layers of flattened keratinocytes that are undergoing apoptosis. As these cells move further away from those diffused nutrients from the dermis, their nuclei and organelles start to degenerate. A distinctive feature of this layer are dark staining keratohyalin granules. And then as we continue to move up, we have the stratum lucidum. This is a clear layer that is found only in thick skin, such as the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet. It contains 4 to 6 layers of flattened, dead keratinocytes. And then we have the outermost layer, the stratum corneum. This consists of up to 30 layers of dead, flattened keratinocytes filled with keratin. They form a durable surface layer that is resistant to abrasion, microbial invasion, and water loss. These cells continuously slough off and are replaced by the new cells from the layers beneath. Beneath the epidermis is a connective tissue layer called the dermis. It is composed mainly of collagen with elastic fibers, reticular fibers, and fibroblasts. Unlike the epidermis, the dermis is well supplied with blood vessels and has sweat glands, sebaceous glands, and nerve endings. Hair follicles and nail roots are also embedded in the dermis. The dermis itself consists of 2 layers. The papillary layer is made up of a thin layer of loose areolar connective tissue and contains collagen, elastic fibers, and capillaries. The dermal papillae are upward, finger-like extensions of the dermis that project into the epidermis. This increases the surface area for nutrient exchange and helps to anchor the 2 layers. Some dermal papillae also contain tactile corpuscles or Meissner corpuscles. These are nerve endings that are sensitive to touch. Other dermal papillae contain free nerve endings. These initiate signals to give rise to sensations such as warmth, coolness, pain, tickling, and itching. The surfaces of the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet have a series of elevations that look like straight lines or a pattern of loops and whorls, your fingerprints. These patterns are created by epidermal ridges, which form where the bottom layer of the epidermis, called the stratum basale, interacts with the dermal papillae just below it in the dermis. These ridges aren't just for show. They increase surface area, strengthening the connection between the 2 layers and enhancing grip and tactile sensitivity. What's more, these patterns are formed before birth and are influenced by both genetics and the environment in the womb. That's why your fingerprints are truly unique. No one else has the same set, not even an identical twin. Now, the next layer of the dermis is called the reticular layer. This layer is much thicker than the papillary layer and composed of dense, irregular connective tissue. This layer provides strength and elasticity through the collagen and elastin fibers that are found here. When stretch marks called striae occur, it is because of tears in these collagen fibers due to the overstretching of skin. As the skin is overstretched, the reticular layer is going to be disrupted and those bonds between the collagen fibers get torn. This leads to damage in the area. Over time, scar tissue will eventually form in this area, making those stretch marks a bit lighter. Fibroblasts are the cells of connective tissue that we find here to give rise to these different fibers. And macrophages, which are wandering immune cells, are also found in this area. Now, unlike the epidermis that we talked about with those cells, the cells of the dermis are spread further apart because these are connective tissues. So macrophages can easily wander around in this area. This is also where we find most of the skin's accessory structures, including glands, hair follicles, and blood vessels. Underneath the dermis is the hypodermis, also known as a subcutaneous layer. It isn't technically part of the skin, but it plays a vital role in insulation, energy storage, and cushioning. It is made primarily of adipose tissue, along with some areolar connective tissue, and is innervated by larger blood vessels and nerves. Subcutaneous injections would be delivered to this site just under the skin. Several accessory structures arise from the embryonic epidermis, but are located within the dermis. These include hair, nails, and glands. Hair, also known as pili, is made up of dead, keratinized cells and serves important roles in protection, sensory input, and thermoregulation. The part of the hair you can see above the skin surface is called the hair shaft, while the portion that is embedded within the skin is referred to as the root and extends deep into the dermis. Both the shaft and the root are made of 3 concentric layers. The medulla, which is the innermost core, may contain pigment granules depending on your hair color. The cortex, which is the thickest layer, is made of elongated keratinized cells, and then the very outermost layer is the cuticle, a single layer of flat, heavily keratinized cells that protect the hair. Hair grows from a follicle, a tubular structure that dips down into the dermis. At the base of this follicle is the hair bulb, an onion-shaped enlargement that houses the hair matrix, a germinal layer of actively dividing cells where new hair is produced. Attached to the follicle is a small band of smooth muscle called the erector pili muscle. When it contracts, like when you're cold or scared, it pulls the hair upright, creating what we call goosebumps. Surrounding each follicle is a hair root plexus, composed of dendrites of sensory neurons that are sensitive to touch. This is why, even though the hair shaft itself is dead tissue and it doesn't hurt when you get a haircut, you can still feel a tug or a light brush. And this is because of that hair root plexus, your nervous system, that is wired to notice even the slightest disturbance to your hair. The skin contains several important gland types. Sebaceous glands, or oil glands, secrete sebum, an oily substance that lubricates and waterproofs the skin and hair, keeping them from becoming dry, brittle, and cracked. The secreting portion of a sebaceous gland usually empties into a hair follicle. Sudiferous glands, or sweat glands, release sweat into hair follicles or onto the surface of the skin through pores. There are 2 main types of sweat glands, eccrine and apocrine. Eccrine, or merocrine sweat glands, are the most numerous of sweat glands. These simple tubular glands release a watery perspiration that helps to cool the body. The sweat produced by eccrine glands is made mostly of water with small amounts of ions, mostly sodium and chloride. Urea, uric acid, ammonia, amino acids, glucose, and lactic acid. Sweat plays a role in thermoregulation. When sweat evaporates, large quantities of heat leaves the body's surface. Apocrine sweat glands are large, coiled, tubular glands found in specific areas of the body, such as the axillae, armpits, and groin. Unlike eccrine glands, which help cool the body, apocrine glands produce a thicker, milkier secretion that contains not only water and electrolytes, but also lipids and proteins. They become active during puberty and are influenced by emotional and hormonal factors. These sweat glands do not play a role in thermoregulation, but are active during emotional sweating and sexual stimulation. Apocrine secretions also contain pheromones. These are chemical signals that can subtly influence the behavior or physiology of others within the same species. Unlike hormones, which act inside your own body, pheromones work outside the body, influencing others nearby. In humans, they're believed to play a role in things like attraction, mood, and even social bonding. The secretion itself is initially odorless, but when it interacts with bacteria on the skin's surface, it breaks down and produces the musky scent commonly known as body odor. Ceruminous glands are specialized sweat glands found only in the external ear canal. They produce cerumen, commonly known as earwax, which helps trap dust, debris, and microorganisms, protecting the eardrum and maintaining a clean, lubricated environment. This waxy substance also has antibacterial properties, which makes it an important part of your ear's natural defense system. Nails are made of hard keratin and protect the tips of fingers and toes, providing both support and precision for tasks like gripping and manipulating objects. Each nail consists of a nail plate, which is the visible hard portion of the nail. The free edge, which is the part of the nail plate that extends beyond the fingertip and appears white because there are no capillaries beneath it. This is the portion of your nail that you can trim with no pain. And a nail root. This is the part of the nail that is embedded in a fold of skin. Proximal to the nail root is the nail matrix, which is the site of nail growth. This is where cells undergo mitosis to produce new nail cells. As these cells multiply and harden, the nail grows outward. The lunula of the nail, that whitish crescent-shaped area at the base of the nail plate, marks the visible portion of this actively growing region. The integumentary system is so much more than just skin deep. From layers of protective tissue and specialized cells to hair, glands, and nails, the skin is a remarkable first line of defense and an essential part of how your body interacts with the world. Understanding its structure gives you a deeper appreciation for how your body works to protect, regulate, and communicate, often without you even noticing. If this video was helpful, please make sure to give it a like and share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe and allow notifications so that you never miss out on new content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.